Mr. Schneebly?
Yeah? Hey, what's up?
I don't think I should be in the band.
Why not?
I'm not cool enough. People in bands are cool. I'm not cool.
Dude, you are cool. The way you play. Why do you say you're not cool?
Nobody ever talks to me.
Well, those days are over, buddy. Because you could be the ugliest sad sack on the planet, but if you're in a rockin' band, you're the cat's pajamas, man. You're the bee's knees.
Bee's knees?
Yeah, the bee's knees. You're gonna be the most popular guy in school, trust me.
Okay, I'll do it.
Now listen, this is a big commitment now. You don't just say yes if you're gonna flake out later.
I won't.
Larry, welcome to my world.
You like that better than this?
Nacho Libre better than School of Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Nacho Libre was a staple in my household. Yeah.
It was for me too, but not like School of Rock. School of Rock is so much better. For me, this is in the conversation of I've never seen any movie more than this. I've seen this movie definitely triple digits, if not more.
Wow. I would put this I'm on the other end of the spectrum. This was maybe my third time.
There's no nostalgia.
No, didn't grow up on it, and I had a realization watching this time.
Okay.
Which was, for some reason, I have thought of your humor and Jack Black humor.
Me?
Yeah, coincide.
Okay.
But anytime I'm watching Jack Black, I'm like, this is not, like, these are not the jokes Kyle makes. So I'm like,
So it feels
I don't know why.
It feels like it's off key a little bit.
Well, I couldn't put my finger on it until this watch of School of Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what it is Jack Black's humor when he's calm, like the things that he doesn't do that are like his like calm stuff when he's like, having the conversation with Principal Mullins or something like that. Is that her name? Mullins?
Mullins, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that humor overlaps with some of your humor.
Okay.
Like some of his tone of voice and fluctuations when he's like just having a normal conversation. I was like, okay, I can kind of hear Kyle in there. So I think that's why my brain overlaps the two.
You associate it. Jack Black and my brother are very, very similar. So that's probably Derek's influence. Shout out, Derek. All right, let's just get into a segment.
Okay.
Let's get right in.
Let's start it.
We're going to cast the reboot. So, Paramount comes to you, says 2025, we're putting out a new School of Rock. You're the casting director. You get to choose. Do you want to hear mine or do you want to do yours first?
Well, here's the thing. Last time we did this, the only feedback I got from any of our friends who listened was negative feedback on my picks.
I have actually had multiple people be like, bro, his picks.
And here's what I will say. Last time we did this, there was no prep.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do off the cuff.
Yeah.
And I think that did not work out for me. You did give me a heads up that we're going to do this segment. So I did put some thought into it.
Yeah.
I think I'm still going to make listeners mad.
Okay. Well, let me do mine first then.
Okay.
So here's how I want to set up my version of School of Rock. Okay. So it's modern day. Rock and roll doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. So we've got to go a little older with the cast, and it's somebody who's really living in the glory days.
Okay.
To set the scene for my whole project, comedies aren't really made anymore, right?
Okay.
So we've got to get a big star in the front and center that is going to drive ticket sales, because just a comedy is not going to do it. Okay.
So far we're on the same track.
Okay. Here's who I'm putting as Dewey. Ryan Reynolds. He's the funniest man in Hollywood right now that is going to drive, that a studio would say yes to.
Okay. There's a big deviation right there from your path and my path.
Okay. I'm excited. Who you got as Dewey?
So I thought same thing. It's immediately going to be worse because Jack Black is what makes this movie.
Right.
And it was kind of written for him.
Yes.
So.
And it kind of is him.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
He's a musician.
Music, it's also his, like...
Everything about it is him.
Everything about it is Jack Black. So I'm going similar thing. You got to get a big star in order to get people interested. I'm also thinking similar to Jack Black, you want to get someone who plays music.
Yeah.
So because that's what this movie revolves around, you got to get someone who is themselves a musician rocker.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Black plays it as more of a lovable, like he wants to be a rocker, but he's kind of a loser type of deal. I'm going to put a little twist just in that to be like, he was actually a big rocker.
Okay,
Like,
I feel similar about my version.
yeah, he was a rock star. He's just fallen on hard luck now.
Yeah.
And so he's not as much of a bum as he is a has-been.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with someone who no one would expect,
Okay.
which might get a whole lot of flack and negative feedback.
Uh-huh.
Let's just say you're going to be the people's champion here.
Okay.
But this is someone who has worked with comedic roles
Mm-hmm.
in his own special way. We know him also as a Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp.
My goodness.
Just imagine like cool guy, eye makeup,
Dude,
Johnny Depp.
that's the worst pick you could have made. What are you thinking?
I'm going a different route, and I think
Is it a comedy? Is he supposed to be funny?
he's not the funny part of it.
He's
I
kind of the
think
butt of the joke.
The humor comes from him being Johnny Deppified, working with children,
Okay.
similar to how he was in Willy Wonka, except we don't go the Tim Burton humor. We go with a more like comedic approach.
Okay.
Kind of like these little kids are innocent prep school kids, and Johnny Depp is just the last person you would want to be a substitute.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm imagining is like him as the Mad Hatter. Is that what you're thinking of as him as a substitute teacher?
No, I'm picturing him as like Mick Jagger type
Okay.
character.
Okay.
This like he's
very stoic.
a rock star who has fried all of his brain cells.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that angle.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where our versions deviate. In mine, the central humor is driven by the protagonist.
Mhm.
I want the kids to be a little older, so instead of 5th grade, it's like 11th grade or something.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot of kind of banter back and forth, like sarcasm. In your version, the humor is driven by the kids.
Yep.
Johnny Depp is kind of a punching bag for the kids.
Punching bag for the kids. Also, from my other picks, let's just say my picks are not going to be well received.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea what else you're going to choose here. Okay, so we're going to go with Ned Schneebly, the actual Ned. So here's my pick. So Mike White wrote this film and he's in it.
Mhm.
So I would want to do the same thing as an homage
Okay.
to the original.
So you're going to have the writer.
I'm going to have a writer actor in this spot as the
BJ
the
Novak.
roommate. You're not far off, but also not close. I'm choosing this person because I want their humor in the movie. Ned's very plain. Ned is just the roommate who used to be in the band with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
John Mulaney.
Okay.
He hasn't done too much on-screen acting, but I feel like he's playing enough, and
Yeah.
he could bring that dull energy
Yeah.
that Ned needs.
Yeah, he could. So far, I'm liking your picks.
Okay,
think
I
it
don't
could
feel
work.
the same.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, who you got as Ned slash writer if you're doing that?
I'm not going writer.
Okay.
So in my mind, when I was thinking about this, again, the humor is not coming from Johnny Depp. The humor is coming from rock star Johnny Depp being put with other silly people and the kids and everything.
Yeah.
So the supporting characters are the ones who have to be really funny. I'm going to go Kyle Mooney.
Oh yeah, he'd be great.
And then
Imagine Kyle Mooney and Johnny Depp.
I'd see it. Because I'm thinking of the pairing of the
Okay.
two between Ned and Patty.
Okay, go ahead and give your Patty.
So Ned is Kyle Mooney. Patty is Aubrey Plaza.
Yes, that totally works. With Johnny Depp, no, but that pairing works in
The
those
three
two
of them
roles.
would never be in a movie together. I don't know. Maybe Aubrey Plaza could be in a Johnny Depp movie, but
Yeah,
in
Kyle Mooney.
real life, they would never. The three of them would never be in a movie together.
yeah.
So that's why I'm putting them in my picks.
Okay. All right. Who you got as Principal Mullins?
I thought of so many different people that would have just been all over the map. This is someone who has had a very serious acting career, but has done a couple of things in comedy that I'm like, okay, I think she could perfectly then do the like serious principal who, wants to be more liked. Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. She'd be great. She's now number 2 on the billing for you, behind Johnny.
I'm shocked that you supported that one so much.
No, I like it. I think she's funny in Galaxy Quest. She's a big name.
Yeah.
She's honestly a little bit funny. Like she would be similar to her warden in Holes.
Yeah. I guess that's right. I forgot about her in Holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it'd be similar.
Yeah, similar vibe.
Yeah.
And I think the on-screen of her and Johnny Depp
is there
getting a beer together.
Yeah, is there a romantic connection between Johnny and
I would probably.
I don't know what their age difference is. She's probably older.
School of Rock felt like they were headed that direction.
Yeah.
And then
she's significantly older in the real
It feels like they understood that, okay, this would be weird, and so they kind of cut it.
Yeah.
And so in my version, I think I would have a romantic connection there.
Okay. I intentionally aged up my principal so that there's not any
Betty
thinking.
White.
She's dead. She can't make the 2025
Really
version.
aged up.
Just a CGI of Betty White.
It's a hologram.
No. Sally Field.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if she would want to, but she would be right.
Yeah. Similar vein. I could see that.
Yeah.
Because they need to be taken seriously as the hard-nosed principal.
Yeah.
But then they need to have that moment in the van with Dewey where they're like, sad that people don't like them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sally Field would do it.
Yes. All right. Who you got as Theo?
Here's my 2 picks I'm real excited about.
Okay.
Johnny Depp was the hammer.
Listener, Theo is the lead singer of Dewey's original band. In case you don't remember that character.
I think I would have a little bit more showdown between them in the Battle of the Bands in the finale.
Yeah.
A little bit more back and forth. I'm going with Jared Leto.
That would be amazing to watch.
I mean, like he actually does have a band he can rock, and
yeah.
So old burnout Johnny Depp being much older, Jared Leto, no matter how old he is, he looks very young.
Totally.
And so him being
could go either way,
replaced by the new younger guy, like it's Johnny Depp's band he used to have, and they kicked him out. Jared Leto's like the new replacement guy type deal, and so then him going even younger and getting kids to be in his band to fight back.
I really like that pick only because of the other picks that have happened so far. You set a bar that you've exceeded. But seeing a face off between Johnny Depp and Jared Leto, they're basically the same person.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
A guitar show off.
Yeah. Okay, finish yours off, and then I'll do my other band.
Spider.
Listener, Spider is the guy who replaces Dewey in the band.
Who just has a weird back tat and leather pants. And
wears a shirt that's only sleeves.
Yeah. So he's only in there for comedic effect.
Yeah.
He doesn't, I don't even know if he has more than one line in the movie.
Sup, dog?
And that's it. So I'm going, this character is only for comedic effect. He's only going to be in there about 30 seconds of the film. He's just to be funny as the leather wearing rocker.
Yeah.
So I'm going for someone who just makes a cameo. Bill Hader.
Yeah. I love it.
Give him some real long hair.
Dude, your movie is all over the place. You've got like, first it seems like you're going like, not even a comedy, just a movie, like maybe a drama with Johnny Depp, and almost then you throw in Bill Hader and Kyle Mooney, and it becomes an SNL movie.
That's my pick, and I'm sticking with it.
All right, well, listener, reach out if you felt like those were good or terrible. My My two with Theo and Spider are Theo is John Hamm.
Okay.
Kind of they're similar age, and he's like physically imposing, and he's funny. He can do comedy.
Yeah, I can
My Spider is Pete Davidson. He's
He
just
fits.
he's just like a little idiot,
A little slimy, covered in tats.
Exactly. Okay.
So, who do we think sell more tickets at the box office? Yours or mine?
Oh, I'd love to see yours though.
It would be a one-time theater watch and then never seen again.
Yeah, old dogs vibes. Okay, let's get into the meat here. All right, here's our recap for School of Rock. School of Rock follows the story of Dewey Finn, a struggling rock and roll musician. When he's unable to pay his rent, he reaches the point of desperation and poses as a substitute teacher at a prestigious prep school. Dewey ultimately forms a rock band with his 5th grade class to compete in a local Battle of the Bands competition. Along the way, he helps his students discover their musical talents and teaches them valuable life lessons. Despite never wanting the job in the first place, Dewey finds himself and his true calling. When you read the description like that, it really makes the movie sound so absurd.
Going back to the lack of comedy conversation, I feel like what we're missing in movies these days is just the movie with the absurd plot.
Yeah.
People love to poke holes in plots, and I think we've gotten more and more used to that, and so silly plots don't fly as much as they did before.
Yeah, we're not looking for entertainment as much as we used to be. We're looking for I don't know what, something that's bulletproof.
Yeah.
For some reason. Okay.
It also, that description also makes it sound maybe a little more inspirational than it is.
Dude, there's some very sweet moments in this movie. Very sweet. Okay. So, where I want to head with the rest of our time here, talking about School of Rock, is the idea of work and calling. There's this idea of calling out there. There's this one job that's the perfect thing, and you were made to do that.
Yeah.
Similar to the idea of like the one. Like there's this perfect thing that you were wired for, you're passionate about it, you're good at it, and everybody has that puzzle piece that they just need to find.
Once you find it, your life will be fulfilled type deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A temp, I'm a sub. And soon I'll be a certified teacher.
Come on, man. One show, $20,000 prize. We split it 60-40. Grab your bass and come back to the garage, brother. I mean, don't you miss rocking out?
Dude, if you think anyone in their right mind is gonna want to be in a band with you, you're more delusional than I thought.
Dewey, maybe it's time to give up those dreams. I did, and things are going really great for me.
Yeah. And the idea within kind of Christianity, there's a book called Just Do Something by a guy named Kevin DeYoung. He says, we've turned the idea of calling or vocation on its head. The reformers emphasized calling in order to break down the sacred secular divide. They said, if you're working for the glory of God, you're doing the Lord's work, no matter whether you're a priest or a monk or a banker. But we've taken the notion of calling and turned it upside down. So instead of finding purpose in every kind of work, we're madly looking for the one job that will fulfill our purpose in life. So what he's saying is the idea of calling kind of entered the Christian vocabulary to say, whatever we do, we're working for the Lord, not for human masters. So therefore, our job is our calling, not just a minister is not the only one with a calling. All of our work is a calling.
Yeah.
But we've taken it and we have a culture that's obsessed with kind of individuality. So we think, oh, I have to find my calling instead of I'm going to live out my calling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's out there somewhere and I have to go get it.
Right.
Rather than what I'm doing and what the Lord is leading me to now, that's what my calling is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Therefore, any work that you're doing, if you have been given a job, that is your calling? Or would you say, do you think he would say it's a little bit more specific than that it's not just whatever you do, you're doing that for the Lord, so that's your calling. But he wouldn't go as far as to say you only have one calling.
No, I think he would say your calling is whatever you're doing. But what would you say?
Well, my thoughts go to, I don't want to throw that blanket statement that whatever you're doing is your calling, because that would kind of get into the vein of whatever you do is right for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I agree with the idea that whatever your work is and what the Lord has called you to, that you are to do that unto the Lord.
Yeah, totally. Every well-intentioned adult, like I specifically remember a substitute teacher telling me this, which is funny with this movie. The kind of phrase of like, if your work, what's the, like, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And that's just like not really true. Like we look at Genesis 3, whenever specifically part of the fall specifically called out is that work is cursed. Work is not the curse, but work becomes cursed. Work becomes really hard. We're going to try to work the ground and it will fight against us. And that doesn't just go for agriculture, like that goes for all jobs. You can do all kinds of things and you're not outside of the will of God. Psalm 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purposes that prevail." There's nothing that we can do that's going to mess with God's purposes. Like what he wants to happen will happen. Many are the plans in a person's heart, which is great. We can make plans, but we can kind of hit the pressure release a little bit whenever it comes to our job decisions, because the Lord's purposes will prevail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we'll be right back.
Hey, listener, I've got one word for you, storyteller. Now I've got another word for you. You ready? Comforter. Now let's put those together. What do you get? That's right, Lexi Chase Media. Lexi Chase Media offers wedding photography or videography to capture the biggest moments of your life. Lexi Chase Media actually shot my wedding, and I've got to say those photos came out phenomenal, made our day better, made our memories better, and we still look at them today. We had considered hiring Lexi's competition, and no kidding, we dodged a bullet. Talk about getting this marriage off on the right note. Lexi Chase Media is offering 10% off services in 2024 when you tell her that the Credits Boys sent you. So go ahead and reach out with the link in the show notes today.
All right, back to the show.
I was going to say, kind of thinking about this in the context of Dewey in this movie.
Yeah.
He kind of, is the, he's kind of the bum because he has this one thing that he's like, he feels he's destined to do, which is rock.
Yeah.
Dude, I serve a society by rocking, okay? I'm out there on the front lines liberating people with my music. Rocking ain't no walk in the park, lady.
And so there's nothing else in his mind that he can do or should do.
Yeah.
He's totally content to live for free off of the good nature of Ned. And kind of, take for granted rent and people work, and he sleeps in and whatever. So he's totally willing to like, hey, that's my calling, and so I'm going to go try to do that. And when I'm not doing that, I don't have anything else that I have to do.
Right. Yeah. And in Dewey's mind, he's like, my job is my identity, and I am a rock star. Like that's who I am, because in his mind, I'm really good at that. We have this cultural obsession with ourself and defining ourselves. So like through things like Enneagram, Strengths Finder, spiritual gift assessment, Myers-Briggs, Otter, Lion, Beaver, Retriever. It's like we have all these things to try to define ourselves and figure out what our strengths are, because we think if I'm operating in those strengths, then I'll be satisfied, which to some degree there's wisdom there of like you should try to do things that you're excellent at. Right.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we think a little bit too narrowly about the things that we're good at, and we think that needs to be the job title, right? And so for Dewey, it's like he wouldn't say it this way, but he wants to work within his skill set. He wants to be a full-time rocker.
Yeah.
He ends up as a substitute, and his strengths seemingly are irrelevant to this job, but because he shows up, like, his strengths can't help but reveal themselves, right? Like, each of us are going to operate in our strengths in our jobs, regardless of whether it's part of the job description or not, right? So I think we put way too much weight on, like, what's my strengths finder? What's my my compatibility with this job based on these things that I know about myself. But in reality, it's like I was saying earlier, like, we can take the pressure off. Like, there's not one thing that you need to go do. Like, you can do almost any job and probably you'll be okay. I mean, obviously with some exceptions.
Right. I think that's great. I think that is also way more common than I think people think of it as. I think people think like, oh, everybody is doing this thing that they've had a passion for and they have their fit. I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but there's some studies that have showed that around 46% of college graduates work directly in the field they study. And that means over half, 54, end up doing something else. Yeah. And so when you're, choosing a college major, you're kind of like, oh, this is my passion. This is what I'm good at. I'm going to study this thing. Or, maybe not. Maybe you're like doing it because your parents want you to or some other reason.
And either way, it feels like, oh, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I have no choice at this point.
Yeah, this is what I'm committing to because this is where I think I should be, and I'm doing this thing. And over half people who go to college end up doing something different than what they studied.
Yeah. 1 Samuel 10, God gives some commands, and then he says, once these signs are fulfilled, do whatever your hand finds to do, for God is with you. And so again, it's like, we have freedom. Like, there's not God's not trying to, he doesn't have this mysterious thing. There's cosmic clues out there that we need to put together. And if we miss that, then we've missed out on what God has for us. Like, that's just not how God operates. But I think a lot of times that is how we think that he operates. But he says, do whatever, literally says, do whatever. Just do whatever. Do whatever your hand finds to do, for God is with you. So for Dewey, he shows up to the school. After a little bit, he starts learning how to operate within the kind of job description of teacher in ways that his strengths come out.
Yeah.
Right. So whenever he first gets there, he says, kind of jokingly, but he's like, I'm a teacher. All I need are minds for molding. And so that's kind of his mission statement, if you will, of like, this is what success looks like. If I'm able to influence and develop these kids, then I'm a good teacher. Right. But he gets there. He kind of does things the ways that he thinks he should.
Yeah.
And he's a terrible teacher.
Are you going to teach us anything, or are we just going to sit here?
Just do whatever you want.
I want to learn from my teacher.
Besides that, Freddie, what do you like to do?
I don't know. Burn stuff.
Just go out and have recess.
My parents don't spend $15,000 a year for recess.
What, you want to learn something?
Yes, I do.
What, you want me to teach you something? You want to learn something? All right, here's a useful lesson for you. Give up. Just quit. Because in this life, you can't win. Yeah, you can try. But in the end, you're just going to lose big time because the world is run by the man.
He gives the lesson on the man, and it goes terribly. He ends up screaming at the kids. And then he kind of just gives up and is like, I'm not good at this, whatever. But then he realizes, there's some common ground here. And like at that point, he starts to kind of teach them the way that he is able to.
Right. The biggest thing that changes for Dewey is his thinking about what he's called to do and thinking about how he goes about doing that. We're thinking about that idea, like you brought up, of if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
That conjures up in our heads an idea of things being easy.
Yeah.
That, well, if I just, love whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, and I could just do that thing, then it'll just be fun all the time.
Yeah.
And that idea is honestly pretty frowned upon in the Bible, of living an easy life.
Yeah.
In the sense of not ever facing challenge or trial or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so Dewey kind of, even once he realizes, oh, I can use the students to make a band.
Yeah.
Like he kind of thinks, oh, that's going to be easy. They're just going to follow me and follow my song.
Yeah.
And I'll, trick the teachers and we'll win this money.
Right.
But in reality, it's much harder than that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. The thing you just brought up of like he initially his motives are completely selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, we're gonna form the band, we're gonna join the battle of the bands, we're gonna win it, and then I can pay my rent, which is just such an awesome scenario for a plot of a movie. But we see this kind of transformation start to happen with Dewey, that while he is working, he kind of starts to shift his mindset from being selfish to being selfless.
Yeah.
And that starts to happen whenever he starts to relate to the kids.
So, Tamika, what's going on? What do you mean you can't sing?
I don't feel good. I feel sick. Just let Alicia and Marta do it.
No! They can't sing like you can. I need you in the chorus. What is it? Are you nervous? Yeah, why? What are you afraid of?
They're gonna laugh at me.
What? Why would they laugh at you?
I don't know. 'Cause I'm fat.
Tamika, hey, you've got something everybody wants. You've got talent, girl. You have an incredible singing voice, and I'm not just saying that. You heard of Aretha Franklin, right? Okay, she's a big lady, but when she starts singing, she blows people's minds. Everybody wants to party with Aretha! And, you know who else has a weight issue?
Who?
Me.
With each of the kids, they're all insecure in their own way. He doesn't like what Dewey just went through. He's been kicked out of his band. Nobody respects him. And he feels like these kids are in a similar situation.
Yeah.
Like nobody respects them. Nobody really thinks that they can think for themselves, that they can do things. And at the same time, he's getting that respect from them that he has been craving.
Yeah.
Right. He, whenever he first pitches his song, he's like a single beam of light and it's just me on the stage with my guitar. And, the song's all about him. But then by the end, at the end, he wants to play Zach's song instead. He lets the kid lead the way.
Yeah.
And so 1 Peter 4:10 says, each of you should use whatever gift you have to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So Dewey's gifting is musical, and the satisfaction he starts to experience in his work comes from whenever he starts to use that for the benefit of others. Right. Right after his conversation with Lawrence and with Tamika after class, whenever she's like, she was all shy about singing, that next day, he kind of like skips out off to work. He's so excited to go.
Yeah.
Because he's making a difference and benefiting these kids in the way that he's working, right?
He's having an impact. I loved in this movie, that he gets a moment with each of kind of the main kids in the band.
Yeah.
But you see a little breakthrough moment with each of them.
Yeah.
With like that moment with Tamika. Rather than kind of doing a gloss over, oh, he's making a difference on the kids, it actually gives you kind of a little emotional scene that he gets to connect with each kid for a different reason. I thought it's fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie is kind of defined by Dewey being okay with being something other than what he thinks he is, right? He thinks he's a rock star, but he's essentially a music teacher, even though he's not. And in my mind, the transformation kind of becomes complete whenever Freddie, whenever Freddie is out in the van with those guys.
Yeah.
And Dewey's like,
What's going on here?
Nothing. Just chilling.
Freddie Jones, you get out of that van this instant.
See you guys.
Hey, man. You think you're pretty funny partying with an innocent little kid?
Dude, we're just chilling.
That kid's 10 years old, man. He looks up to you, and you are setting an example for him, so quit messing around and start acting like a responsible adult! That goes for all of you guys. Don't make me come back here.
So it's like he like literally at the beginning he's like, go, I just leave, I don't care, go outside, have
Recess all day.
Yeah. But by the end, like, he cares about the kids.
Yeah. Dewey is able to rock, but by being this teacher and having to grow up a little bit, having to mature, having to look out for people other than themselves. You brought up 1 Peter 4:10. Also in 1 Corinthians 12, 4-6, it says, there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work.
Yeah.
So we all have that calling to do everything as if unto the Lord.
Yeah.
So we all have that calling, but it's going to look different the way that we do it because we have different talents, we have different gifts, even though it's from the same God and we're all created by the same God. He has gifted us in different ways to do different things.
Yeah. And
so the kids all kind of have to learn the different things that they're good at and the ways that they're going to do it. And Dewey has to learn the thing that he feels like he's good at. He has to do it in a different way than he thought because he's seen everyone else, rock in this certain way.
Yeah, totally. Exodus 31, 1-5 says, the Lord said to Moses, see, I have chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and with all kinds of skills, to make artistic designs for work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of crafts. So this is actually the first person in the whole Bible that it says is described as being filled with the Spirit of God. And it's this guy who just has this certain set of skills. We're able to work in our skill sets. Like we have certain skill sets because they're a reflection of something about God.
Yeah.
We're all made in the image of God.
Yeah.
Right.
Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established.
Yeah.
Whatever your hands find to do, whatever that work is that's been placed in front of you, do that, do it well, do that for the Lord.
Yeah.
And he's the one who is ultimately in control of the world and in control of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I think about that. I think it's like the second day whenever he is just sitting there, his eyes are closed. He's hungover at work.
All right, look, here's the deal. I've got a hangover. Who knows what that means?
Doesn't that mean you're drunk?
No, it means I was drunk yesterday.
It means you're an alcoholic.
Wrong.
You wouldn't come to work hungover unless you're an alcoholic. Dude, you got a disease.
This is him just essentially watching the clock and being lazy and just trying to get through the day. Like, I think there's this romantic view of like remote work, or like whatever is the easiest thing is the job that I want, right? Because that's what's going to make me happy. We don't understand, like, we are wired to work. Like, work is a good thing.
Yeah.
Proverbs 13:4 says, a sluggard's appetite is never filled, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. Sluggard, the lazy person, appetite is never filled, never satisfied. No matter how many days you spend napping through work, you're not going to be satisfied by it. You're never going to be recharged by that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you see it with Dewey, like once he starts engaging with the kids, having the lunchroom conversations with them, and starts talking to them and doing, molding minds, you see that he gets more excited about his work.
Yeah. Yeah. The Hebrews 12:11 says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. That's what produces the growth at the end of the movie from him, from the kids, is because he's doing something that seems unpleasant to him.
Right. And then at the end, ultimately, well, it doesn't really show, but we can presume he's fired from his job. And I think part of the mythology around your calling is like, this is the job that I'm going to do. Like, this is the last time I'm going to look for a job. Like, this is going to be my job forever. Right. Yeah. And so with Dewey, he, quote unquote, fails in his time at Horace Green. But it's not a failure, because he walks away from the experience having grown and having learned something about himself that informs his next job. Right. And so he's able to be even more equipped for that next job of, the after school teaching kids how to play music program, because of his experience just doing what was in front of him.
Yeah. I did think about the fact that sometimes we think of our calling as very personal.
Yeah.
It's very like, oh, this is something that I need to do. I need to make it happen. And more often than not, we are called to lean on one another's strengths. The kids need Dewey to be kind of pulled out of that, strict school system rut that they were in. The parents needed Dewey to show them these special talents that their kids have that they kind of didn't know about.
Yeah.
But Dewey also needs the kids, because the kids, specifically Megan Cosgrove,
you combine her name with her Drake and Josh character there, Miranda Cosgrove.
We all know her as Megan or Carly. But specifically Miranda Cosgrove, her character is this disciplined, smart, hardworking.
She's the opposite of him.
She's the opposite of him. And she's the one who gets out of him, hey, stop being lazy and actually teach us something, and pulls him out of that.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, like we mentioned it earlier, but each of you should use whatever gift you have to serve others.
I did something bad, Ned.
No.
Yeah, they called looking for a sub, and I said I was you just to make some money, but then I got there, and the kids, they rock, man. There's this kid, Larry, who's like, I'm not cool, but now he's like, beep, 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 beep. And there's this other girl who could sing like, but then she thought she was too fat to sing, so they were all dying of this rare blood disease. And then the principal got drunk, and now we're playing tomorrow Battle of the Bands. Isn't that great? It's the coolest thing that ever happened. One day, that's all I ask, Ned, and then I will come clean. I'll tell everyone it was my fault. He had nothing to do with it. You'll be fine one day.
Like, at the end of the day, if you're serving others, like if you're using your gifts to serve others, that's what you're called to do, regardless of what the role is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to kind of give Kyle Chase's pitch to the world, hey, here's what I think God thinks of our work and our calling in this sense, what would your kind of summarized message be?
Well, let me speak for God real quick.
That's what he says.
This is what I think, that I think we can do any job on earth that is not sin, right? So you can't be a drug dealer, you can't be a prostitute. Those are out, Davis.
I gotta make some coffee.
But so within that, there's freedom, and at the same time, God isn't like keeping this great secret job away from you that's going to be perfect. Work is cursed as a result of sin. Work is hard as a result of sin. Someday we're going to be in heaven and we're going to work, and we are not going to experience the hardness of it. It's going to be restored to how things were in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So work is a good thing. Work is a hard thing. And that's universal. You can do anything within that. And as long as you are working hard, as for working for the Lord, and you're not sinning, like you are operating within, quote unquote, the will of God. Like there's not a calling that's outside of what you understand as the will of God. We have freedom, so we can operate within our strengths. But regardless, there's not a job that's going to fulfill us in the way that most of us want it to.
Yeah. Nothing is going to fulfill us besides the Lord. And the Lord has given each person special gifts and talents and abilities. And so whether you think you know what that is and you feel super confident, or you're the person who feels like I have nothing good to offer.
Yeah.
The word tells us that whatever you're doing that is committed to the Lord, that is for Him, and you're working diligently, you may feel like that's, what you were born to do or not.
Agreed. Jack Black was born to make this movie, though, and God told him.
This was his calling.
This was his calling.
This was exactly what he was called to do with his perfect musical pitch and his
zany attitude
and his zippy personality. I bet those kids had a blast hanging out with him on set.
You got to think.
Yeah.
I bet that I've seen the behind the scenes featurette as part of the DVD back in the day.
I bet
Jack Black running around with the kids.
Yeah. So, speaking of natural giftings, I've always had a natural...
Talk about your art. We already put an ad earlier.
You want a walking, talking art machine? No, ever since I was a little kid, I've had a very uncanny ability to remember quotes word for word specifically from movies or TV shows. Yeah, we're the same in that way. And so my parents used to think that was just hilarious.
Oh, I have an awesome follow-up to this story.
And there is a specific quote from Nacho Libre that my parents would literally almost every time. They would make me do it as a party trick for their friends. It was like I was like a talking parrot. They would be in the dining room with all the adults, and they'd be like, "Davis, come in here, do the Nacho Libre."
Oh, I would never ever perform in that way.
I did it every time.
You're a total ham.
Yeah.
My brother is really that way. My brother, who's similar to Jack Black humor. And I remember watching School of Rock specifically. I was probably in the second grade or something. And my brother was going off with quotes, which, let's be honest, is annoying. But at the time, I didn't think it was annoying.
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was awesome. And it was the part where in the lunchroom, Dewey is like, I was this close. I nailed the audition, but I didn't get it. Guess who did? Yo-Yo Ma's cousin, Little Nepotiz. And I remember my dad being like, how do you remember this stuff? And from that moment on, I decided, I have to compete with this.
I got a quote, thanks.
Yeah, I gotta start memorizing movies.
All right. It'll be a while probably till our next Jack Black flick.
No.
You don't think?
I don't know what it would be, but...
Maybe Nacho Libre.
No way.
Yeah, you'll have to follow.
What would we talk about?
Oh, I got so much. All right. Roll credits.